everyone. Joey here with the ChiefOfSinners.com Christian Counseling blog, and I'm coming to you the day after Memorial Day, a holiday we use to remember those who gave their life in the name of freedom. It's also the unofficial start of summer, and we tend to use Memorial Day as a time of celebrating with family and friends. What do we do when we celebrate? We eat bacon. And we also eat, just summer foods, and we celebrate with family and friends. But we tend to, like I do, get out of hand sometimes with eating. And we tend to have a hard time putting food in a healthy perspective. If you're anything like me, yesterday you had pulled pork, beef brisket, smoked sausage, banana pudding. And we need something sometimes. Some of us need something to put food in a healthy perspective. 1 Timothy in the Bible tells us that God's given us all things to enjoy, and but God never wants us to enjoy one thing too much. He always wants us to have a structure and control, self-control. And there's a great tool called Weight Watchers that helps us put food in a healthy perspective. To me, Weight Watchers really treats food like an addiction. There's a structured program. There's group therapy, although they don't call it group therapy, but it's people coming together and sharing stories of encouragement, stories of discouragement, tips, and just helping each other grow and heal together in that food addiction, really is what it is. And when you treat food like an addiction, you have the most success, because that's really what food is. It becomes an addiction when you become overweight, when you start to use food in an unhealthy way, overeating, using food to comfort yourself. It really is a drug, and it needs to be treated as an addiction. And that's why, again, I think so many people have found success with Weight Watchers. Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down with my friend Jeannie and have an interview because she has a successful weight loss story using Weight Watchers. So today, the day after a holiday, when so many of us might be feeling a little bit guilty about yesterday's celebration and overeating a little bit, I wanted to bring a story of encouragement to you, and I hope that this interview might be a blessing to you. That it's full of tips and her story, and just sitting with someone and hearing their story and relating to them helps us to move forward in our process, because it reminds us that we're not alone, and again, there's tips that you might benefit from in your own weight loss journey. So I will play the video now. It's Jeannie, my friend, and we met via Skype. And I just hope that you'll watch this and that it might be a blessing to you. Thanks for watching. All right. So, thank you for agreeing to be interviewed and talking about your experience. So, can you just say just who you are? We're friends.
My name's Jeannie, and I'm redhead.
Well, we worked together for a little bit of time at the bank, right?
Yeah.
And we hit it off and became best friends.
That's right.
Yeah. And there's lots of cool things about you, but one of the coolest things I think about you is that you have a really cool Weight Watchers story. Well, I wanted to talk to you about your Weight Watchers story because I think that a lot of people can benefit from what you've been through and how you've gone through the process. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk about it.
Oh, no problem.
All right. So can you start by saying what Weight Watchers is?
Weight Watchers is a lifestyle change. I don't like to call it a diet, because usually when people call things a diet, it runs along the same category of something that you don't want to think about. So I would say that it's a program for a lifestyle change, a more healthier lifestyle, it's definitely permanent. You don't just join and then quit. Kind of just becomes you. Anyway, they teach you how to eat healthier and to live healthier and to live happier.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot because I told you, I just started it a few weeks ago, and I like it a lot, and it like clicked in my head. I was like, there's really no, like, if I think about it, once I get down to my goal weight, if I stop doing Weight Watchers, what's going to happen? I'm just going to go back to my old eating habits and gain it all back. So it's really a life. I like how you said lifelong. It's a permanent thing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
everyday conscious decision.
Yeah.
It's like brushing your teeth.
Wow.
Or putting on deodorant. You know, don't you don't want to forget to track your food. Because it's like a checkbook. You have to balance it out. If you don't have points for it, you shouldn't eat it. It's 10 o'clock.
What time is it?
It's 10 o'clock.
Do you have somewhere you need to be?
No.
Do you have a pill you need to take?
No.
At 10 o'clock? Me neither. But I told my wife that after we started doing Weight Watchers, I was like, I don't see a reason why I'll ever stop counting points. Like, I should never stop counting points. I even said when we have kids and they're growing up, the way I'm going to teach them how to eat is to count points.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Because, I mean, I overeat because my parents never taught me how to count points. I mean, They never taught me how to eat. They never taught me anything. They just said, when you're hungry, eat.
Yeah.
And that's not...
And eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
And lots of it.
Eat at McDonald's. Eat what tastes good. Food is fun. Food is love.
If it feels right, do it.
Exactly.
If it tastes right, eat it.
So, can you talk about why you joined Weight Watchers? If you don't mind talking about like why?
My story.
Yeah.
So I was 20 years old, and I went through a weird breakup with somebody I was dating at the time, and it wasn't a good situation. I felt, upset all the time, and I noticed gaining a lot of weight because I eat my feelings, and I had to go to an annual checkup with my doctor, and he made me step on the scale, and I was almost 200 pounds, and he told me that if I didn't, because he also did blood work, and my blood results came back, and I had high cholesterol, and for 20 years old, that's just not normal. And they said that if I didn't lose weight, then he would have to put me on blood pressure and high cholesterol medicine. And I left there crying, and I knew something needed to change. And I called my mom, and I said, Mom, we gotta do something. I'm 200 pounds, I'm 20 years old, I've got high blood pressure, and I said, this isn't right. I shouldn't have to feel like this at 20 years old. I feel like 40. So she told me that she would join Weight Watchers with me. We went like a day after New Year's. I was like, okay, it's a new year, new me.
Right.
Went to Weight Watchers. A weekend or 2 weeks, about a month in, my mom quit. I kept going. I started in January. The first week I lost 3 pounds. The second week, it wasn't as much, but I kept going little by little. I got to my goal weight in June, and I've been maintaining it and losing weight ever since. Is that more than you wanted to know?
No, that's perfect. I have my questions here, and you're answering. I looked down at my questions as you're answering the questions that I had to ask you. So I appreciate it. You're making my job really easy.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So you said that you lost like a little bit. You said 4 pounds the first week.
3 pounds.
3 pounds the first week, and then
after that it was steady but small amounts. Like, I lost like 0.5 one week, or 0.6, and then I'd lose 0.2, and then I'd lose 1.2, 2 pounds, just sporadic amounts, but I always lost.
How did that feel?
I'm sorry?
How did that feel?
That felt great, because I felt like I was taking baby steps in the right direction, and as long as it was some weight, then that was good. Like, it was progress. I try not to beat myself up, because they say between a half pound to 2 pounds is normal per week.
Okay.
You don't really lose faster than that. I mean, unless your body's just getting rid of the weight, as long as you're being healthy with it,
Right.
So that was even before I started exercising. There was about a 3-month period that I didn't even exercise, because I started in the winter. It was cold. I didn't have the energy yet. Once I made it to my 10% goal, I had more energy. I was ready to go get active. That's the second component to the program. You want to eat healthy, and you want to get moving. Stay active, and find different ways to find yourself being active. Make it fun. It doesn't have to be being in a gym. You can go outside the gym.
Right.
Go running, go biking, go do Zumba. That's what I like to do personally. I like to Zumba.
What is Zumba?
Even doing laundry is activity.
It's not fun.
I know, but you might as well incorporate it. Maybe take a couple extra flight of stairs while you're doing it. Like, do a couple in between, going up and down the laundry, run,
What's Zumba?
Zumba, huh?
What is Zumba?
Zumba is Latin mixed with hip hop.
Oh, so it's dancing?
Yeah, it's a jazz. It's like jazzercise, but it's all dancing.
Okay.
Jazzercise, you have to use like different exercise tools. Like, you can use I can't remember the name of the thing. You step on it and they stretch.
Yeah, like a gigantic rubber band.
I can't think of the name right now, but Zumba is strictly dancing.
Okay. So you weren't discouraged by losing those little amounts?
I was more discouraged when after I got the goal, after I hit my goal weight and I stopped. That was the part that discouraged me, when I couldn't lose weight. If I was losing, I knew in my head that I was going to reach that goal. If I had a week where I maintained, that discouraged me a little bit more, because I'm like, okay, I'm doing the same things, so why am I not losing? But sometimes your body just takes a little extra time to catch up with you. Your metabolism's changing. You got to think that your body chemistry's changing. Especially after you add activity in, sometimes it's going to take you that extra week to lose what you worked on last week. You're building muscle, your body, like I said, the body chemistry is changing. You can't get frustrated. You just got to keep going. Keep doing what you know.
Right.
Make it till you make it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Do you live by that? Fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard I've had managers say that, and I was like, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard. But then, I guess it works in some situations. But then,
sometimes if you keep positive, you'll start to become positive.
Definitely.
Even in a bad situation, if you stay positive about it, you can have your moments where you're upset, but don't stay down. Get back up on your horse and keep going. Just because, say you have a bad day on Weight Watchers, you're just not tracking, don't wait till next week to start. Start over tomorrow. There's a new page on your tracker.
Right.
Start tracking again tomorrow morning. Don't put it off, because the more you put it off, the more days you won't track. Starts an endless cycle. I've done it, trust me, plenty of times. Don't want to do that.
So, can you say what you were, what your weight was when you started Weight Watchers?
When I started Weight Watchers, I was 190. And now, when I got to my goal, my the lowest I got on Weight Watchers was 145 pounds.
Wow.
And now I've gained weight, but I'm still in my goal. So I'm at 160.
So is your goal like a window?
Yes.
Okay.
Every Weight Watchers member, you take your height, your weight, your
Gender.
and
Your age.
your age, and you excuse me, and
there's like a calculator.
Yeah, it's like a calculator.
Yeah, it's like a formula.
Thank you, Joseph.
I have my calculator here.
Oh, bring out the bling.
It looks like birth control.
Yes.
I think they do that probably on purpose.
Yeah, so you don't forget.
Yeah. I don't have room for two of these.
So, basically for the weight requirement, you take your height. At my height, the minimum or the maximum weight I could be is 160. You got your goal range, and then for a lifetime member, in order to be lifetime status, you have to be within a 2-pound range. So if I'm at 162, like if I'm 2 pounds and outside of that, that's my cushion. I'm allowed to be at 162, and I don't have to pay for a woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you because Weight Watchers, there's a monthly fee that you have to pay. It's like $20 a month, somewhere in there, right?
Right. Online.
Well, I mean in general. There's one that's only online, and then there's one where you go to meetings. Is that right?
There's about 4 different options. You've got your monthly pass, which is $42.95 a month. That includes online and meetings. You can go to as many meetings as you want, and everything that comes online you can have on your mobile phone, iPad, and computer.
Okay.
Or tablet. And then you've got your pay-as-you-go, which is $15 a month. You get 1 meeting per week. That's all it covers, a 1 weigh-in and 1 meeting.
And the reason you know so much about the plans is because you actually work there, right? Do you still work there?
I do not work there anymore.
Okay.
I worked there for 3 years. It was definitely very motivating. I felt like to work there, you got a different perspective. Instead of just sitting in the meetings, I was weighing in members, and it motivated me in a different way because they're bringing up things to you that you would have never noticed. You're looking at yourself from you're looking at a different perspective. You're seeing somebody weigh in. They're being motivated. They're sticking with it. Just to see them every week come and weigh in, even if they had a bad week, even if they knew that they were going to be up, they'd still come and weigh in. I had a lot of members
that had to be hard.
That would know, and they said, "I know I'm up, but I just had to come weigh in, stay accountable." That's a lot of it. Like people that ask me if they would rather if they should be online or attend meetings. I always say attend meetings.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Is like, can you talk about when it got hard for you? Because it had to have gotten hard. You had to have gotten, like you said, you're down, you get discouraged. But talk about that and how you got through those hard times, and talk about especially the meetings and what goes on at the meetings, and how did the meetings talk about how the meetings make a difference.
Okay, well, it actually got hard as soon as my mom quit. She was my buddy. We were supposed to be in this together. When she stopped going, I attended the meeting, and as soon as I, opened up about my situation in the meeting, like my mom quit, and I was sad, and that made me want to quit. A couple ladies in the meeting heard me say that, and they instantly took to me. They kind of surrounded me, like they gave me their support. And in that meeting, you find people that you connect with. You find friends, and it helps you want to come to the meeting. It gives you something to look forward to because you know your friend's going to be there. And they're going through the same exact thing you're going through.
Right.
And it keeps you accountable. It's another way to keep accountable to yourself because you're making time for you. It shouldn't be a burden to go weighing in. You're making time for you to get on track and keeping you on track. And attending the meeting is like your own personal 30 minutes of you time. You get time with the people that get what you're going through. It's like a support group. And that's why I really think Weight Watchers has it down because not only do they have a good food plan, you get to eat whatever you want as long as you have the points for it, and you learn how to make it healthier, and you learn how to be flexible with your eating, because not only can you eat at home your own food, but you can go to other restaurants and you can eat their food because you know how many points, you look up how many points it is. Then they have the meetings that gives you a support group, and you're keeping yourself accountable to yourself, but not only yourself, but to other people that are looking forward to seeing you the next time. And they start to ask, where were you last week? And why weren't you there? What did you do? What, were you bad?
Right.
But also it gives you, in the meeting itself, it gives you recipes. You can switch recipes with people. They give you techniques that you can work on, like eating slower, slowing down, sip water between your meals. I've learned so many helpful tips from other members, but also my leader. The leader takes time every single week to plan a new meeting for you. So they're taking their time to create things that can help you towards your weight loss journey. So it's a great tool for a member to go to those meetings.
That's really great. And I study counseling, so I relate Weight Watchers to food is my addiction, and Weight Watchers is a support. It's an addiction recovery program. It has all the same elements as an addiction recovery program. You have the meetings, you have structure, you have goals, and you have a new perspective. So it's I think that's why Weight Watchers is the most successful program out there, is because it I don't know if they call food an addiction, but it's the same approach. So they do talk about that.
Yes, they do cover that. The reason why we eat goes way deeper than just because it tastes good.
Yeah.
There's such thing called hedonic hunger, where you could just look at food and you get hungry. You don't even have to be hungry. If you see a commercial on the TV or the radio talking about the new mocha frappuccino or the new Big Mac double size it, whatever it is, it just hearing food or just a certain time of day, you start thinking, oh wow, it's 1 o'clock, it's lunchtime,
right? And
you're not even hungry, but because you're used to what time of day it is and what that connects with, that can make you hungry. Like, there's so many different triggers that people don't even realize that are making them hungry. It could be stress. Your tire breaks down and you're sitting on the side of the road and you're like, you know what would be really good right now? A big beer or a big brownie sundae, and this is going to taste so good because I'm so irritated right now. Like, that's hedonic hunger. Like, stressful situations and things that were in your past that made you hungry, like Thanksgiving. You're not hungry for that third or fourth plate, but because it's Thanksgiving, you're like, okay, let me eat as much as I can. Right. I'm going to stuff myself like a turkey.
Yeah. And I like that word. That's another addiction word, triggers. And that's something in recovery they say, you have to identify your triggers. And So that's a big part of it.
That's something that we encourage members to open up about. We want people to realize what's causing the trigger to eat.
Right.
Is it your stress? Let's figure out how to work on that stress. It opens up to the group, and then they're like, does anybody have any ideas for Jeannie? What is anybody gone through this before? And it's amazing the feedback you get from not only the members but the leader.
Right.
A lot of us are addicted to food. We have a problem, and it's okay to admit that problem.
Right. Yeah. There's shame is a huge part of it for a lot of people, I think. And shame is that emotion that says, I am bad. And then shame is like a snowball. Like I'm bad, so if you feel bad and you feel hopeless, then you're going to just keep doing bad things. It's not going to matter, Bad people do bad things, so I did this bad thing, I might as well do more bad things, I like what you said about that. Did you try other things before Weight Watchers?
I have. Not right before I did Weight Watchers. I've been overweight pretty much my whole adolescent and adult up till the time I was 20. Really, from the time I was 12 to the time I was 20, I battled being overweight and started to be obese. And I tried like different little fad diets. Like I did the grapefruit diet, and I did diet pills, and I starved myself, and I did the Slim Fast diet and the Special K diet, and I would lose 10, 15 pounds, and then I would gain it right back. I just didn't stick with it. To be honest, this is the longest I've ever been healthy, probably since I was 10 years old. It really is easier to stick with.
And those other
real.
Yeah, and those other diets, they're marketed as a quick fix.
A quick fix, and not a full-time fix.
Right, not a permanent fix.
Permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good word.
you used that word at the beginning. It's permanent. Because I am a Christian counselor, can you talk about, and I know you're a believer as well, can you talk about the role of God in your weight loss journey?
Yes. Well, as you know, one of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. And self-control plays a big part in changing yourself. You have to be disciplined, and you have to use that self-control sometimes. Sometimes you just have to walk away. You have to get into the mental state that if you walk away, it's going to be okay.
Right.
And sometimes you have to pray. You have to pray and tell yourself, ask God to give you the strength to be able to walk. I mean, as silly as that sounds, sometimes you need God to walk away from a plate of brownies.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that would be so good right now, but God, please help me keep this change. Please help me get through this. Because, a plate of brownies to somebody could be cocaine to somebody else.
A hit of heroin, yeah.
Yeah, it can be addictive, and it is an addictive substance. Especially chocolate is very addictive to some people. It gives people a rush. It gives people a high. And,
it's the same chemical in your brain is released when you eat as when you have sex, when you eat, do heroin, drink beer. The same pleasure sensors are activated.
And some people think that it's just food, but to somebody who is addicted to food, it's not just food. It is their drug. It is how they cope. It is everything.
Right.
It is, did you know that people think about food? I don't want to give you I can't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure it's around 1,000 times a day.
Oh my! I'm thinking about it right now.
That's how many food decisions you make in a day unconsciously.
Wow.
And so sometimes you do need to pray to God to give you the strength, and to maybe ask him to bring something else in your life that's going to distract you from that food. Like maybe you could, maybe God will bring the idea into your head that you could start running, going for a walk and literally walking away from the food and go for a walk.
Right.
Symbolizing that you can walk away.
Right.
That could be it.
And I like, it fits with Weight Watchers a lot. You said fruit of the Spirit is self-control. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit. And I like the meetings because that gives you the support, because self-control is almost like what we would consider willpower. And when willpower isn't enough, the meetings give you that extra boost of, strategies. And because God, in Corinthians, God says, I won't let you be tempted by anything that isn't a common temptation that everybody struggles with. But with the temptation, I will also make your way of escape. So God promises that with every temptation we have, he will provide an alternative, a way of escape from that temptation. And then the other verse that I thought of when you said that was, I think it was Paul, but said that in the Bible, it says, all things are permissible for me. And that's Weight Watchers. You can eat whatever you want. All things are permissible for me, but it says not all things are profitable for me. And it says, I will not be a slave to anything. And that's Weight Watchers. Like, you can eat whatever you want, but just know that eating too much is going to have a bad effect. And you can get to the point like I was at, and sometimes am, like you sometimes are and you were, that you become a slave to food or whatever it is. But in our case today, we're talking about food. And so it says, all things are permissible, not all things are profitable, but I will not become a slave to anything. And I think that is the whole Weight Watchers program in the Bible right there. And it's amazing how God, those words were written thousands of years ago, and that God knew our hearts, what we'd be struggling with today, that he would write those words for us so that we could have them. Yeah. Since you're at your goal, what do you do now to maintain?
I do as much activity as I can get my hands on. Because since I've reached goal, it can be almost harder than when you're losing weight. Because you've reached your goal, the first thing that I was taught, I feel like I was taught if I did something good or reached a goal or finished something, that I could reward myself. And what I had to try to not to do, learn to do is not reward myself with food, but to reward myself with maybe a pedicure or non-food victories, like going shopping, going to treat myself to a massage. That's probably one of the hardest things I had to learn when I reached goal weight, was to not reward myself with food, and to learn even new ways to exercise, because after you do something for so long, you kind of get burnt out with it, and you kind of have to keep it fresh. Try new things, be constantly trying new things. There's so many options out there. You've got water aerobics, you've got roller skating, you've got Zumba, you've got Taekwondo, you've got kickboxing. Anything that you're doing that's movement is better than sitting on the couch. So if you want to eat, if you want to treat yourself, then just move more. It's kind of like
there's activity points, right?
Yes, and you can use those incorporated into your tracker if you want to. If you've used your 49 points, your flex points for the week, and you really want a piece of cake and you don't have it for your daily points, go exercise for an hour. Go do something. Break it up during the day. Just so you can treat yourself, but you've still done it in a correct manner.
Right.
You've worked for it.
Yeah. Because if you allow yourself to just go over all of your points, then you're just back where you started.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's that fine line of you go over all your points and then you find yourself, you're gonna find yourself back at that shame area. So there's a fine line there. For life, what would just be your advice to someone who knows they need to get control of their weight issues?
I would say, are you ready? If you're not ready to help yourself, then nobody else can. That's the first thing I would say. And if they said they're ready, I say it's not going to be easy, but it's worth it. You have to make yourself worth it. Nobody else is going to do this for you. You've got to do it yourself. You won't be alone, but you will be alone most of the time. But it's worth it. Yourself is worth it. Before you can take care of anybody else, you have to take care of yourself. And if we're not happy with something, then little by little we can change it. Not overnight, but little by little. And when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. You won't be the same person that you were when you started this journey. It has changed my life forever. It's made me a completely different person. I started off unhealthy, which is number one. I wouldn't say to join Weight Watchers to look better, but to feel better. Being skinny is not the most important thing in this world. Being healthy is.
Right.
You got to get healthy because you want the best quality life possible while you're on this earth. You want to feel good. You want to be able to be around for your grandchildren and your children and everybody that's important to you. And if you can't fix this problem, it's eventually going to lead to your quality of life going down.
Right.
So I would say that it's an important decision. It's not something that you can be taken lightly, but it is worth it.
Yeah.
Anything in life worth working for is hard. Worth it is worth working for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know
I'm tough, but it's true.
Right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about this, and I just hope that it blesses someone who needs some words of encouragement, or doesn't really know what Weight Watchers is, or just needs to hear a success story. And I appreciate. So you were like 190, and you got, was that right? Or you went to the doctor? You said you're almost 200 pounds.
Yeah. Well, before I did join, I just started eating healthier.
Okay.
I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I was at 199 when I weighed in at the doctor's.
Wow.
Then I lost 9 pounds and weighed in. I just, quit drinking soda and, started trying to eat cleaner. I wasn't eating out as much, and I was eating more at home. So I kind of did a little bit, on my own. I just knew that I needed to stop eating some of the junk. Like, I kind of used common sense until I learned. But I didn't realize how bad my nutrition was. I didn't realize how bad the choices I was making. I just was unaware. After I started learning how many points are on some of the values of these foods that I was eating, then I was able to okay, well, if this is a certain amount of points, then maybe I could try something else.
Right.
For less points. So that kind of helped me learn the nutrition values.
It's amazing some of the things that you think are healthy are very high in points. Like, there's a granola bar. Yeah. There's a granola bar that, it's a granola bar. It's like 5 points, which that's a lot if you...
Because there's things in the granola bar, and it also helps you look at nutrition, not only nutrition facts, but the ingredients. You learn, once you get down to points, then you really start thinking, what's in my food? Why is it that many points?
Right.
Is it because there's hydrogenated oil? Is it because there's, it really brings up an interest. Once you start eating healthier, you really start thinking, what's in my food? Now, why does it have a paragraph long in my ingredients? It's not that big.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Why is this rocket science? Like,
Yeah.
and that really, that's another great thing about nutrition. It really helps you, really pay attention to what you're, like, once you start caring about what you're putting in your mouth, then you start caring about other things. What is the food that's going in my mouth? What is it actually doing to my body?
Right.
Is this gonna, like you said, not everything's equal, and what did you say earlier? He gives us a promise.
Not everything's profitable.
It's,
right.
Just because it's the same amount of points, like say you get a muffin or a yogurt with a piece of cheese. Okay, one thing has more protein in it. The yogurt and the cheese is going to keep you fuller longer, and it's better for you. The muffin has flour and
sugar,
and
butter, and chocolate
and milk,
chips,
and chocolate or blue. You can chocolate chips. The other maybe both have the same amount of points, but the yogurt and the cheese are gonna keep you full longer and do better things for your body.
Yeah, you want to get the most nutrition possible out of your calories.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can have a whole bunch of calories that have a whole bunch of nutrients, or you can have a whole bunch of calories that is just wasting your body's energy to digest that food.
That's right.
We go to Panera a lot. They have really good salads.
Yes.
Yeah,
good choices.
I love the restaurants that have the apps where you can easily build your meal.
Points.
Oh, it's awesome. Well, again, I just really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I know that it's late, and I don't want to steal all of your time. But is there anything that you would say just to close our conversation, or anything you want to say that you feel like we left out?
The only thing I can think of is if you're thinking about joining Weight Watchers, don't think about it. Just do it. I promise you it'll change your life forever. It'll make you a happier, healthier you.
And definitely do the meetings.
And definitely go to meetings.
They make all the difference.
And one more thing I can say is that if you're another good reason for the meetings is if you're having a bad week, you need a meeting. If you're having a good week, the meeting needs you.
That's deep. That's what you get for watching the whole video. Stuff like that. That's what you get for watching till the end.